Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 12 of Super Switch Heads. This is the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. I'm your host, David. I am joined today by
Matthew Stoner,
Patrick Nisley,
and we have a very special guest joining us tonight. The creator of the upcoming Switch game Dig Dog, Rusty Moyer, is on the podcast today. How's it going, Rusty? Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Glad to be here.
Hey, you look very comfortable on the mic. I'll tell you that.
It's you guys just make it so easy.
Oh, look at that. We've barely begun. We're already showered with compliments.
keep them coming.
How's everybody's week? We having a good time?
Yeah. Yes.
We having fun yet?
Yeah, I've been having fun downloading maps and characters from Smash World.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that has been an absolute delight. We'll be talking about that pretty soon. We got some great topics for today. We're going to be going over some Smash 3.0 reactions and kind of what our takeaways from the new update are. We got some possible leaks again coming through. Some very fun stuff to talk about as far as news is concerned. And then we'll be talking with Rusty, like a sit-down kind of interview about his gaming, his kind of game development journey and what you can get excited about Dig Dog coming out soon. Not to be confused with Ding Dong XL, which I don't know if you noticed just hit the eShop.
Today?
I think so.
Nice. It's lots of D words.
Yeah, they just slapped a couple N's in there. So watch your turf, you know. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, also just full disclosure, we are recording this a day early. So if any crazy news comes out on Tuesday, we'll catch that next week. But yeah, let's go ahead and go straight into news.
Yeah. So the big 3.0 came out in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Joker DLC character came out. So I don't know about the rest of you, but I could not. I stayed up to try and download it, and I stayed up and played other games and kept trying. And I gave up around 11 p.m., which apparently is when it worked. And this is Central Time. Did you guys get it that evening or the next day?
I tried. I was like going to go to a show. I was like in a show that night and went and tried to get the download going so I could play it in the green room at the show.
Nice.
And I couldn't get it going until I came home.
We
from
crashed the servers, or they just weren't prepared, or both.
You think that they would be prepared? I mean, like when Smash came out, there was no downtime, but like the Joker
there's now
update.
more users though, right?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Not everybody bought it.
Yeah. What about you? Did you get hype and play?
I did get hype and play, yes. I think I got it maybe successfully like around 11:30.
Yeah, I gave up like right when apparently everybody was able to give it.
Yeah, we were talking in Discord, and there was like 4 people that were like, I got in, and I didn't hear from them from the rest of the night. And then 2 of us were like, still can't get it, still can't download it.
That was a bummer. I was really like, that was the only night I had. Like, I have had a busy week with non-gaming stuff. So, like, I was like, oh, this is going to be perfect. This is the night I can play it. And then I couldn't. I also had pre-bought.
First world problems are
right. Oh, totally. Like, look, we're doing a video game podcast still. I also had bought Cuphead and was hoping that might release then. Cause like, well, maybe that'll release at 11 because it's not a major Nintendo game, came out later in the day, the next day as well. So
yeah.
Disappointment for me all around.
You still playing Smash, Rusty?
Not as much as I should be.
You should be.
It's okay. I've fallen off a
No,
little bit
it's
as
actually the one I play with my siblings. Like, I live out here in Texas and they're out in California, so we'll play some on Sundays, and that's like magic.
So you guys are playing like online and arenas and stuff like that? Yeah. What do you think of the online?
It's good as far as I've had.
Yeah.
It's just based on how it's networked. It's going to be just based off of, I think, who has just the worst connection.
Yeah,
and, like, kind of bring the whole thing down. So like most of the time it's good. Because we used Discord to chat with my brothers and sisters,
Of course.
and so he had to turn his Discord off on his phone. Otherwise, he would introduce lag onto our Smash.
So you can't chat through the console, and you can't chat without the console because, well, bummer.
What a brilliant way.
He was crunching the Wi-Fi or something in his house or his internet. I think it something. But,
Probably just left his uTorrent on.
But God, it's awesome.
Well, what is y'all's opinions about Joker as a character so far? nobody's got an opinion. I really like Joker.
Yeah,
actually.
you go first.
I'll go first. I played with Super Switch Head's friend Austin. I guess the day after, because that was the soonest I could play online, and I felt like I actually did okay with the Joker. Like it kind of clicked for me, but I'm not the best Smash player ever. So
Yeah, he's fun. He kind of reminds me of like a cross between like Sheik and Cloud. He's kind of almost like an easier version of Cloud. You know, because Cloud will like charge up his limit break or whatever, and then you can release that attack, but it's only just one attack, and it's really easy to whiff with Cloud, you know? But with Joker, whenever his persona comes out, all of his attacks are buffed, and you have it for like, it seems like almost 30 seconds or something like that. So that's kind of fun. I haven't been playing with him online. In fact, I haven't really played Smash Online in a while. But yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing him online. Have you been playing people at all?
Yeah, I have been playing people. Yeah. Sorry, I'm all extra sassy tonight. Yeah.
Well, you also just playing Smash as I came over to
Yeah,
it.
that's true. Yeah, Joker's fun. I, for some reason, have a hard time playing against Joker, mostly because the persona, like the person will just do their down B to charge the persona, then it'll come out, and then I'll die.
Yeah. Bummer.
well,
He's just too quick.
you'll figure it out.
Hey,
I don't
thanks for
think-
your support.
I don't think Joker's the star of this update, though.
Well, yeah. So there's also Stage Builder. Is that the star of the update?
I
David?
think so, yeah. I'm having so much fun with the stage builder.
Have you been making lots of stages? Or
No, I've just been
other
downloading
people's?
wacky ass stages. I'm having so much fun with it. Just in finding like old N64 stages that aren't in the game, like having those recreated in Stage Builder is really cool. And then, you know, just a bunch of lewd pornographic stages that the little 14-year-old inside me finds very humorous. And it's great. I mean, and it really increases a lot of the replayability of the game, I think.
And you got in trouble, right?
Yeah, so I got in trouble. So I was trying to share just some of the crazy shit I found in the Stage Builder and like character stuff to our Facebook page, right? So I used the in Switch screenshot tool and then used the post to Twitter tool that's in the Switch.
The only way to get your photos off officially.
Right. I mean, you could take a picture of your Switch or something
Right.
like that with my phone, which
that
is what I
official?
should have done. Right. But basically what happens is every time you post something to Twitter from Smash, it also automatically posts that screenshot to Smash World, the like Nintendo Switch Online app companion for Smash or whatever. So every time I was posting them to Twitter just to get the image off to post on Facebook, it was then posting those like pornographic stages under my name. So I got multiple emails from Nintendo being like, we have removed your content. And if you do this again, you will be banned from Nintendo Online. or
Oh
something
my
like
God.
that. And I was like, God damn, I didn't even make it, yo. Like, I'm
trying to
not part of
take
the problem.
pictures.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Man.
showcase the filth. Okay. I'm just trying to make the world a better place, Nintendo. Come on.
What about video editor? Has anybody messed with that at all, or watched?
I didn't hear
people's
about
videos?
this. What? So
You can make little movies in Smash now.
Yeah, they basically added like Vegas into Super Smash Brothers. now.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's a whole like nonlinear editing suite. It's
And so
insane.
people are going to make the next Red versus Blue, I'm sure, in Smash or whatever. But any of y'all mess with it? I haven't had a chance.
I have
to.
not. No.
I watched a few videos and they're fun.
Were they
you
creative?
can watch people's creations in
Yeah.
the tool? What?
They have a whole sharing suite like in that they built into the game with this new update. And so it really has breathed a lot of life into it, I think. And even Sakurai was tweeting out some stages just today. I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Matt, what videos did you watch? Like, were they just fights or were they like creative, weird
Some of them
things?
were like creative, like storytelling stuff. There was I can't think of the director's name, but he made like a short 20-minute clip of like two characters fighting.
A short 20-minute clip.
Yeah, short.
20 seconds clip.
I was like, God damn.
Hey,
That's even long for a short film.
do you not have 20 minutes to span your life? How busy are you guys? And it was like it's a really fun character piece between like a tough guy and a weak guy. I don't know how else to explain it.
Well, it's cool. You can add like subtitles in and you can actually like kind of give it a little story.
You can like zoom in and zoom out and use some of the pan features of Smash while you're recording the video. It's pretty cool.
What about Smash World, the app? Have y'all messed? I mean, obviously David is unknowingly adding images.
I haven't
to
opened it, but I'm already almost there.
I just poked around at it for the first time today, but I really haven't had a chance to mess with these new tools as much as I would like. So next time. But what balance patches? They did some minor balance stuff. Did you guys look at that? Mostly they sort of buffed shield against projectiles. That seemed to be the main, like weakened projectiles kind of across the board, and buffed shield against projectiles. Does that matter to you?
The young Link
Yeah.
mains are like furious
Right.
over this.
Oh yeah, I haven't played as Young Link since
So,
the update,
Any
but that makes
distant
sense.
character,
It doesn't. I don't know. I'm not
Is that
a
gonna affect your
professional
Palutena game?
player.
a little.
You think your Palutena game is nerfed?
Yeah, it's nerfed a little bit.
Oh man, you're gonna have to
Good.
get a better profession.
Yeah, I make money from
It seemed
playing.
I'm not mad about that, by the way.
It seemed pretty minor overall, but
Yeah.
I don't know. As somebody who likes to spam Hadoukens, yeah, I'm a little
yeah,
sad
that's
about
true.
it.
Yeah, this is very true.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's not that big of an update. It seems like the first balance patch that came out was like way more.
Oh yeah,
It seems like they've gotten it down pretty much closely to what they want it to be. So
yeah.
I think the real win of this update is just the community stuff.
Yeah.
Like all the lewd stuff is pretty funny, but there's also some really cool stages. The like Smash Ball is back.
yeah,
There's some other like pinball themed levels.
I
that
saw like
one-
an NES pinball one today, which was really cool.
Yeah, there's a Waluigi pinball that I was playing with
Yeah.
a buddy. It's all like fun stuff. I've been also downloading Mii's, a lot of King of the Hill Mii's.
As we predicted.
I have like 4 Hank Hills.
Yeah, as far as custom
pretty
stages
fun.
are concerned, I think the best one so far, there's like the DVD logo.
Right, that's
that
nice.
floats around the stage, like when you would leave a DVD player on for too long.
I didn't see
there's-
that.
Oh, that one's incredible.
Oh, I saw. I didn't know what it was. I realized now that I was looking at a Smash level.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's some great ones. Like there's a Temple of Time from Ocarina of Time, which is really good. A bunch of great like Japanese temples that just I don't even know what games they're from, but they're just really nice to play on and like good fair stages. So yeah, it's a ton of fun. I've been having a great time looking at those.
Yeah, hopefully I'll get to check some more of that out this week and report back. But moving on, there's been some leak information about Switch revisions that we got to talk about because I know we've talked a lot about Switch revisions, but somebody posted a possible fake, possible real picture of a Switch Mini in a factory or who knows what. Probably fake, if I'm being honest. But
Yeah.
it was like sort of an interesting color. It was like teal. And it looked like it was the back of it. And
Right.
I think this was retweeted by somebody at Piranha Capital. That's the tweet that kind of gained a lot of traction. Did you guys look at that picture? What do you think? Real? Fake?
I enjoyed all of the comments on Twitter where like the picture's in a factory. It's got to be real.
There's a cement.
Yeah, there's a cement
Floor.
floor. That means a factory. That means it's a factory. Not just like any other cement floor everywhere else. Yeah.
I mean, that one looked pretty real because there were two that I saw of pretty much the same kind of model. But I think the second one might have been based off of that first one. So if the first one's a fake, then the fake is just based on the fake. But it's like, I think it looked pretty convincing, that first one. I think that people were having issues with reading into the like
serial number
like
or
the serial numbers
product
and stuff.
number.
Yeah. It was the same as the regular Switch or something like that. So I don't know all the details. I mean, you're getting into the nitty gritty there, but I imagine that is kind of what the Mini would look like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it was the back shell where of this Switch Mini where the Joy-Cons are not detachable,
Right.
but like it's all one
Piece.
unit.
Yeah, one big
yes.
thing.
You have any idea about any upcoming Switch Mini news?
No,
Rusty?
I was just trying to think what you guys were thinking, what it might be. I'm just trying to imagine like what I don't even know what it would look like.
Right.
Like I'm just thinking it's like, oh, how much do the batteries cost for the Joy-Cons? And
Yeah,
like,
would
how
that
much is
save a lot of money
That
to-
connection piece and
Right,
like
sure.
for breaking them apart and like the the rumbles, like how much that stuff costs for components and for the durability. I'm just wondering how cheap the price could go.
How low
Right.
could it go?
Because the
Right.
thing that I would imagine a Switch Mini, sounds like it might be a thing. Like I imagine it could be really cheap.
Yeah.
And
I
that would
think
be,
they're
like,
going
a
for
big
that.
draw.
I think they'd be going for that
150,
200.
200.
I think they'd be going for that 200 price point because that's a good solid 100 beneath what the Switch is right now.
What about
I
180?
Maybe 180. See, I'm thinking more that it's going to be like a 200, and they're going to drop the price of the Switch down to 250.
That would
You
make
know what
sense.
I mean? I think and I feel like whatever it is, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of it at E3. Just because there's been way too many rumblings about like both of these Switch versions, both a Pro and a Mini.
And speaking of that, let's move on because there was, or not move on, but related, Nikkei, which I think is how you pronounce it, a Japanese outlet, had some leak, rumor, speculation, I guess insider information saying that the Switch revision, like the Pro or maybe the next Switch, has been delayed, which is really weird because
It's fun when things that haven't been announced
hasn't
are
been
delayed.
announced, but that doesn't mean that there's not some sort of internal pushback. But this was a really weird article. It confused a lot of, I think, because it's in Japanese and the translation and whatnot. Everybody thought they were talking about what we've been referring to as the Switch Pro, like a slightly modified Switch. But then people are saying, no, they're talking about like the next generation. I also wonder if this fits into that Papagino's leak we talked about, where there was some discussion about, you know, there being a couple of iterations that they've been working on down the line.
See, it feels to me like if you're going to put this in the terms of the DS, it's like it feels like the Switch is the DS, right? The Switch Mini would be like the 2DS or like the DS Lite, right? And then the Switch Pro that they've been talking about, I see that as like a DSi, right? And then the next revision thing that they're talking about, that's like the 3DS, right? So it's like I think that's just to put it in perspective, like as far as we understand, all these leaks are talking about 3 different models, right? Like over however many
3
articles.
additional ones beyond what we have. You mean?
Right, exactly.
And so using the Game Boy Advance,
It would be like
the Nintendo Switch is the Game Boy Advance, and then the Nintendo Switch Mini is the Game Boy Advance Micro.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And
then
then-
SP, then this is getting it's getting too complicated.
well, but okay, so
for my old bones.
the-
I can only go back one generation, man.
the Nikkei article also talked about how the Mini is coming, though, still, like the kind of confirmed, that's not the right word, but that still is coming. So
Yeah, I think we'll be seeing that by the end of the year.
yeah, it
for
sounds
sure.
like if there's anything coming soon, it's going to be a smaller, cheaper version of the Switch. I'll be very interested to see what it is.
Get them kids back in that camp.
Yeah, I get the next is the 3DS replacement, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on. We talked about Reggie Fils-Aimé left his post as president of Nintendo of America. And he tweeted some pictures of some parting gifts he was given, including one like a drawing by Retro Studios, and everybody's freaking out because the post there's a hand in this. There's a hand in this picture that people can't identify, and it's like the body or head or whatever is blocked by another one of his items, and it seems intentional, and nobody can place what this robot hand is, and so everybody thinks maybe it's either a Retro Studios game they've been working on or a canceled game that might be a little nod to Reggie or something like that. You guys?
Yeah, this is a drawing that Retro Studios gave to Reggie.
Right.
And it's like a drawing of Samus from Metroid, as well as a Metroid and Donkey Kong and several
And Diddy
other,
Kong and Dixie Kong.
Yeah,
and Dixie
Dixie's
Kong.
on there.
And there's also a Mario statue that he probably got from Nintendo, and it's covering a specific part of this artwork.
Yeah.
It's very clearly placed there to block whatever is there in
Yeah.
the corner.
Yeah, and there's maybe this like 4-fingered robot
Right,
hand.
exactly.
Where people speculate that right? I see everyone raising their eyebrows. Exactly.
I went down this rabbit hole hard.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
This is
What did
fun.
you find?
Well, I just spent a lot of time reading every thread about it I could to see and I'm pretty convinced it's something, because we'll mention this. There's somebody who retweeted this as a concept artist at Retro, and he put a smiley face or something like that.
Yeah.
And somebody else tweeted at him, another video game artist. And I think they deleted this tweet, but it was screenshotted is that what I think it is? And he's like, yes. So it's obviously something, that may just be an inside joke or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it might be something.
Or it's a new Chibi Robo game.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a game. It could not be. But my favorite theories, so he also put a book on the other side of the picture. Did you guys see this?
I'm pulling it up right now.
So
you think that there might be a
my
corner?
favorite theories is that that there's another hand on the other side.
Oh my god!
So the one hand on
so
one side
funny.
is blue, got a little blue line around it, like
Oh
the
my
blue
God.
switch, like your left Joy-Con or whatever. And the
Yeah.
other hand might be red. That book is at a weird freaking angle. I mean, maybe nothing, right? Maybe he just set the book there.
This is a
but
fun
it's a
conspiracy.
weird angle. And so also Retro's had a pinned tweet. This is another one of my favorite, like super down the rabbit trail
Yeah.
theories somebody came up with. Retro's had a pinned tweet since like January 2015. Peekaboo. Is like the day a Nintendo Direct happened. I don't know what it was initially in reference to. It's been pinned for 4 years now or whatever. And the fact that these things are just kind of popping out slightly, there's just like somebody's like, this is a stealth game that they referenced in this tweet for a character that's just like popping out on each side or whatever. I have no clue. Probably just some inside joke.
Well, I really admire your journalism.
Oh, that's
efforts
even
here.
just. Well, no, I just got fascinated by it, especially since it'd be one thing if this just happened, but the fact that there were some people kind of like laughing at it that might know what it is.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That to me that meant that at least it's something, even if it's just a joke or like or even just like a character. There's also one artist that wrote back to that guy Enrique Rivera and said like people are going to be disappointed.
right.
Which would indicate that we might find out what it is and it's not exciting, or we never find out what it is and just
Right.
I don't know. I just think that stuff like this is particularly
What do you want it to
interesting.
be, Patrick? What do you think?
What
it
do
is?
I want it to be?
Yeah.
I want it to be like part of the next Donkey Kong Country game,
like
a
a
little
robot
minor
hand?
character.
Do you think it's a
the next Donkey Kong Country game's gonna be like their
Like
new
mecha monkeys.
They're like exactly. Like their new ally is a little robot or something.
oh my goodness.
So Cranky Kong died, and we
Yeah.
brought him back in robot form.
Or like they get a robot invasion or something, something like
Oh
that.
my god, you guys have really good creativity. I'm sitting over here hoping it's Rob 64 from fucking Star Fox Grand Prix. You know what I mean? Like, I still want that to be a thing. You know what I mean? And it's like, because I mean, whatever it is, I mean, like nobody can really place it right now. It's not the Federation Force characters' hands. People have like looked at that. It's not that. Not that they even worked on that game, but it's like,
Right.
but it's like.
It doesn't seem to exactly reflect any other character, and they did such a good job of drawing the other characters true to.
And a great just
Their
portrait of
in-game.
Reggie right there in the middle. I'm looking at it right now. Reggie looks really happy and content in this
it's a
image.
good
Something
picture.
else there, though, if you think about the framing, like, I mean, who's framed front and center? It's Donkey Kong and
Yeah.
Diddy and Samus.
That's
So you
why I think
kinda-
it might relate to Donkey Kong. You know,
It's definitely, but it doesn't seem like it would be if it's something there. It's not a major front and center character.
Yeah,
Right,
it's, kinda,
right.
it's
somewhere.
relegated over to the
that's
side.
why that peekaboo theory is interesting.
the peekaboo theory.
Ah,
I
you
love
heard it.
it.
That's coined. We coined that theory. This character is called, the theory behind it is Peekaboo Theory.
I think regardless, I think that we're going to be seeing something from Red. I mean, we've all been saying that for fucking years at this point. You know what I mean? It's
thinking-
like, what is Retro working on? It's like, I just can't really believe that they've been working on stuff that's just been canceled and then got this Metroid gig. You know what I mean? Like working on Metroid Prime 4. So it's like, I think that what they've got is something that they've been working on for a while that Nintendo's been holding off on announcing because they know everybody's really antsy to see what Retro's working on right now.
It's just such a packed 2019 that it feels weird for them to announce a big game that we
Yeah.
haven't heard of at
I can
E3.
see one more coming.
Yeah, maybe one more.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the one. We'll see.
Yeah.
We only got another month and a half to wait. 2 months?
If they
2
announce
months.
it at E3 or if it is a thing.
Right.
Do you have any insider information about this, Rusty?
I don't know anything. Yeah.
Just checking in on you.
Matt, tell us about Nintendo dropping this like Switch Minecraft Hyrule Castle thing. Did you?
Yeah, Nintendo has an official version of a Minecraft map for Hyrule Castle. It's similar to the Breath of the Wild version, only rebuilt. So you can go inside of the castle, go into rooms, hang
It's
out in the
nuts.
throne room.
The detail on that thing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it looks like some Microsoft employees were involved. Did you see that? I maybe I dreamt this up, but I felt like it was
the
like
peekaboo theory in action.
that like some Microsoft Minecraft employees helped build it or whatever, which is interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Would not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about Minecraft.
That's all you got to say about Minecraft.
Other than
Are any of you guys
it's
still
cool.
playing Minecraft?
I've never really been into Minecraft.
No.
No, yeah, me either.
Me neither. No.
Yeah, not for me.
Well, if you are and you're listening,
you're a child.
you can check out Hyrule Castle in Minecraft. Nintendo is doing some network maintenance starting the day we're recording this, April 22nd through the 26th. So that's really interesting. Like a couple hours every day or night for the next 4 or 5 days, depending on your time zone. So what does that mean? eShop?
I mean, there's a lot of people that are
changes?
going crazy with speculation right now on like, oh, this means that they're going to be upgrading the eShop.
Super
or they're adding,
Nintendo games.
yeah, they're adding Netflix or whatever, or the Super Nintendo games. But honestly, I think it's just fixing whatever the fuck caused the problem during the Smash.
Yeah, that's a
You know
good
what I
theory.
mean? It just seems like because
That makes sense.
They weren't expecting that, and they were caught with their pants down, and they put out a bunch of like apologetic tweets. Like after,
it was a bummer
Yeah,
for
it was.
me,
It
like
was a
I
bummer.
said.
A lot of people were trying to play, and I think that they're just probably going through and bolstering their servers and everything like that. That's what I have to imagine it is. Although it is like 4 straight days of
It's a lot.
updates. Yeah, which is kind of a bit. It's more than they've ever done before.
Nintendo is moving into the Chinese market officially. I mean, I think you can buy Nintendo's hardware there, imported from the U.S. or Hong Kong or wherever. But
This is like officially that
Right.
the Nintendo Switch is being sort of released
I
in
think
China.
and one of you can speak more to this. I think because I haven't looked into this, but apparently the Chinese government has like a tiered. Like you keep, this is part of the process, or like there's some first.
Nintendo has
step.
always had issues releasing hardware there. Like the N64 was released under a different name in China.
It's IQ, right?
Yeah, I think so.
IQE.
Yeah. And so it's like they've always kind of had to go through these weird back channels to get their hardware out there. And it's never been the biggest market for them in general. They've kind of focused on the West. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be huge. I mean, like you have written here in the notes that like the stock prices like shot up immediately. It's just a huge market that's kind of opened up. And they've also, in China, they've also been experimenting with like throwing like Wii games onto like NVIDIA Shield.
Yeah, that's
stuff
like
out
what
there
I was
as
going to say.
well.
Didn't they like put like Mario Galaxy on some weird thing?
Yeah, and Twilight Princess, I believe, was like, and they were both in HD and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, so they've been kind of working the Chinese market for a little while, but this is pretty huge. This is going to be a ton more.
And
sales.
just going over some background stuff is like, so this release is multi-tiered process. So the Ministry of Culture and Tourism has oversight over game hardware, while games need to be approved by China's State Administration of Press and Publication.
Yeah, so I guess it's not easy to put
Yeah,
it doesn't sound easy when you say all the names of those bureaucracies you got to deal with.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that, but at least for now, Nintendo investors seem happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of the biggest markets in the world. Like every tech company and consumer electronics company wants to be in China.
Yeah.
Officially, not illegally, where you can get most things in China, but like officially so that you can make that cash.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of,
Speaking of investors, there's an investor meeting coming up on April 26th when I believe they are going to be going over their fiscal year numbers. So we'll probably get some updated sales.
they'll probably be dropping some
hardware and
end
software.
game spoilers in there as well.
Yeah.
So just be careful.
If you haven't seen the film already by that point.
Yeah.
And we can hopefully expect, some of the investors to ask some good questions that they will probably dodge the answers to.
Yeah.
But maybe somebody will ask about some of this stuff, like the Switch revision stuff,
I'd love to hear some more about Mario Kart Tour.
or
So
that.
they're
Yeah, I
new
bet you
mobile
some
games.
investor is going to ask that.
Yeah,
question,
for
'cause
sure.
That game keeps getting delayed.
Yeah, well, that's like such a huge focus is like the mobile stuff every investor meeting, just because the investors just care about
Money.
market. Yeah. So it's like, so they're going to be always focused on the mobile stuff. But I am interested in that game, and yeah, it's been delayed so many times. It's got to be great, right?
We'll see. It's a mobile game. It could be great. Could be. We'll see. The Game Boy turned 30 years old. Was it yesterday? Today?
Today, yeah.
This sometime in the last few days, the Game Boy turned 30 years old.
Happy birthday, Game Boy.
Yeah, I guess that means I'm as old as the game.
Did you ever, any of you ever own the original Game Boy?
I did, yes.
The big gray brick.
I had it
Yeah.
pretty early when it came out, I think, or around the time it came out. Yes, and I kept my Game Boy even though it didn't work until I was like 28 or 27 or so, and then I think I sold it, like I sold all the games at like a yard sale, and some kid came and bought a couple, and I guess because they worked still on like Game Boy Advances.
Yeah,
or
they worked
whatever.
on Game Boy Advance.
And I guess this was like 2011, so he must have had one of those. And he came and bought a couple, and then he came back and bought the rest. Like, it's just like, great, because I can't play them on this brick, and I guess I'll just recycle this now. But it was a little sad to get rid of it, but it didn't work anymore.
That's
That
back
thing-
in the Powerhouse era when your game console could get bombed and
Yeah.
still work.
Yeah,
Like that one
I
in
I
New
had
York.
that thing for a long time. I actually think
Yeah.
it still turned on,
Yeah.
but it like was just shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just lines of black or whatever.
Were you about to say something?
Oh,
Russ?
that old thing went through batteries so quick.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like 4 AAAs. And when you're a kid, like batteries are expensive.
Yeah, you gotta beg your
I didn't
parents
have a-
for more battery.
Yeah, I didn't have a battery budget. It was like Christmas. I just want to play more Gargoyle's Quest. Can you like
give me more
please?
batteries.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would play a lot at my brother's soccer games. I would just sit on the sidelines and play, and I imagine I would just burn through batteries out there. I don't really remember like begging my parents for batteries, but I bet I did because that thing ate up batteries.
Batteries are so expensive, y'all. Like we're in an era now where like everything has a built-in battery and just charges, and it's like anything that uses AA's, I freak out about. I just don't know where to get them or what. You know, so much time has passed.
I am a parent of a small child.
Okay,
We have
you still
a
got it.
huge stock of batteries. I buy the gigantic packs.
The Costco pack or whatever.
Yeah, because it's cheaper, and then we always have them of all the sizes for his noise making fire truck toys or whatever.
Hell yeah.
Well, that about covers all the news and rumors and stuff for the week. So yeah, we want to get in.
Which means on Tuesday there will be a direct announcement.
Well, Nintendo has been loving those Tuesday announcements,
Yeah, so we'll
and I
see.
hate to gripe about that, but yeah, we're recording a little early for scheduling reasons. So, yeah, let's get into talking to you, Rusty, about your Nintendo games and your history with development and stuff. Real quick,
Cool.
Dig Dog is coming out on April 26th. Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
So,
New game.
those of you listening, go check that out on the eShop. You've also got another game out on the Switch, right?
Yeah, Astro Duel.
Duel Deluxe, and that came out closer to the launch of the Switch back
Yeah.
in like May of 2017.
Basically launch window.
Yes.
Also, a really good game you all should check out, and we'll talk about
Yeah.
both of these more.
Astro Duel is still like one of the games. It's like when I'm around a bunch of people and we're like, hey, let's play a video game. It's like Astro Duel is one of the simplest games to pick up and play. It's
shit,
been
really?
great. Oh, yeah.
Okay, wait, so can we curse in this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Please do.
That's what makes our podcast cool.
Because we say fuck.
It's a Nintendo podcast where you can say fuck.
Good. We're adults.
Yeah. No, but it's great. It's like, yeah, I still play Astro Duel all the time. It's great. And I'd like that you could play with up to 6 players too.
Yeah, I just played it this weekend with my brother. I went and saw a concert with my brother, and then afterwards I brought my Switch over to his house, and we played some Astro Duel Deluxe. It was great because he's not a huge gamer, but he can play a video game, and it's a perfect kind of game for when you're doing something like that.
Awesome, man.
Well, yeah, but tell us a little bit about your history and sort of, how you got into video games and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I grew up playing video games. Yeah. Right like y'all, right? Yeah.
That's nice having you. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, it's like, woo. Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing Nintendo games, so it was actually one of the things I wanted to do as a kid was like, I want to make video games, but I couldn't figure it out. I asked people, it's like, how do you make video games? And they're like, nobody knew. We didn't have the internet. So, I found these old HyperCard was kind of a way that you could make these. It was kind of like web pages. Like imagine using web pages to build a video game.
Right.
A little bit of scripting, and this is for an old Macintosh Plus. So you think like that was black and white, all-in-one units. Well, I mean, I got stuff working, but I could never get anything real time, and I fizzled out at some point and tried to become a filmmaker.
Oh, hell yeah.
I spent a decade doing that. It was I was like, I'm going to make movies. And then I was seeing the iPhone when it was just starting to come out, and there were these stories from developers.
Oh, yeah.
We're making these retro video games that were like pixelated and had like felt like a game of old, but like they felt like new games that were like found NES games. I'm like, this is like I'm getting all the feels. Like this is
Yeah, yeah.
this is, and they were made by 1- and 2-man teams. And I said, well,
I'm one man.
I'm a one man.
or two men, like one of these. And I'm like, maybe. And so I spent some time trying to learn a program. And after like 9 months of like banging my head, I was like, wait, I think I can do this. And
nice.
quit my job. And 2011 started making video games.
That's good. What was the first game you made?
Oh, Boxcat.
Boxcat.
Yeah.
That's for iOS.
Well, and Mac and Android. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
And how does that game work?
The idea is it's reverse Frogger. So you're a giant cat that's trying to cross the road, but you're not trying to avoid cars. You're trying to cause traffic jams.
Nice.
So it's like an 8-bit burnout,
Okay, very good.
but you're a cat.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it seems like just kind of jumping a little forward on here, but it's like a lot of your games seem to have this kind of retro aesthetic.
Very much, yeah.
Very like simple to pick up and play, but kind of that leads to a lot of depth on the gameplay mechanics. Like what? Like is there a reason that you've kind of stuck with that kind of gameplay model, or have you ever tried to kind of get out of that a little bit and try something a little more complex?
No. I think I love a lot the idea of retro, and I love this kind of like more modern pixel art, which is not quite what it was back then. We don't see this stuff with CRTs. It's kind of like semi-nostalgic, but new and fresh, sharp pixels with these edges. Like when I'm, building this stuff for a Switch, I'm like, I want to make sure that these edges are 100% crisp. So I'm like, all right, we need to render it exactly like this when it's in handheld and exactly like this when we're on the TV, just to preserve that. It's something fresh and new. So I wouldn't say I'm doing pixel stuff forever, but it's going to be here for a bit longer for me. Yeah, it's like because I still love it.
Yeah,
Nice.
for sure.
I do too.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know Astro Duel, like I don't think we've actually described the game.
What is the game?
Like
Please tell me.
Astro Duel is like it's like an asteroids like
Asteroids, yeah.
It's kind of like multiplayer asteroids, right?
100%.
Very easy to pick up and play, and a super ton of fun. Really recommend you guys check out that game. I think we've talked about it on the show before.
Oh, awesome.
Actually.
Yeah, we've talked about Astro Duel a lot.
Yeah, but Astro Duel was it was one of the first indies on the Switch that I can remember. It was like that and like Fast RMX were kind of and there was that like $5 game that was out for a while too.
RMX, right?
Yeah,
what was the developer that?
I
was a
forget what
launch
they're
title,
called.
basically.
Yeah, I think it was a launch, like that F-Zero kind of game. But it's like so. You were kind of there before this huge kind of surge of indies on the Switch, because now pretty much everybody figured out pretty early on that the Switch is perfect for indie games, right? Not a lot of them are going to be super graphical powerhouses, so it's like it can run it perfectly fine. It looks good in handheld mode. Like, how did that kind of come around? Like, when were you first? Like, did Nintendo reach out to you, or?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I was at GDC, and the Switch was coming out. It was coming out in 4 days. This is 2 years ago, right? I was having dinner with a friend, and we were talking about projects and stuff we're working on. And I'm like, well, Switch would be great to bring, Astro Duel on. He's like, well, let me send a few texts. And so he sent out a few texts. And then 2 days later, I have a meeting with some of the guy who's in Austin. And they're over at Panic, and they're like, I show them the game, and we hit it off really well. And it was like, wow, this was a really good meeting. You seem awesome. And they're like, you seem awesome. Like, really? Like,
Wow.
So we shook hands, and basically that was it. Like 2 months later, we had the game ready to ship, and a month later we shipped it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
that's such a fast turnaround.
It was. Well, they're really good at what they do.
So, and when you say Panic, you're talking about Panic Button.
Yeah,
right?
Panic Button, yeah.
And was that the first game that they were working on the Switch as well?
I don't know everything that they're doing. I think this is their first game that they published on Switch. Yeah,
Right.
It's definitely the first published game. It's definitely the first game that I think that they released. But
You got hooked up with them because you knew, or somebody knew that they were working on the
just
Switch.
a friend, and
or
I was looking for a way to bring it to the Switch, and apparently they had been working on it for a while. So I was like, awesome. You guys know this stuff, and they were the ones who came to me with this very rapid schedule. I was like, oh, we're gonna make some changes and maybe add some stuff and make this Switch one a little more beefier,
Right.
and they were like, we're gonna do this in 3 months. I'm like, it's the what?
do you feel like that was a good decision though?
Yes.
They were right.
Oh, yeah.
You were on there early.
I was on board. I'm like, let's do this.
Yeah.
So did you work with them on the port, or was it Like,
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so
so-
it wasn't just like they took it and ported it
No.
themselves.
Well, we basically we just worked together to make it. So
Right,
I
right.
had design changes and code changes that went into features that went into like kind of the base code, and then they
Mm-hmm.
took that and got it running on the Switch and handled all of the publishing end too. So
Right,
like basically, working with Nintendo to get all the stuff through. So basically, kind of split the load.
So what? Just out of curiosity, you said you were initially thinking you might make it beefier. What were you thinking initially?
Oh
you
no,
might...
I did. Like it was.
Oh,
like
it
went,
happened just faster than you might have
I
thought.
mean, we did 6 players.
Right.
There's actually it feels kind of minor in some way, but I redid the whole menu to feel like it's closer to a console experience.
Okay,
The
yeah,
original one
I like
has-
the menu on actually both of your games.
Oh,
We'll
thank
talk
you.
about that.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like it definitely feels more like a console experience, but you still kept that iOS like kind of iPad feel where you could play it set down on a table.
Oh yes, so
You know
that
what I
was
mean?
that was important. There's this really weird thing that Astro Duel has, which is it's made to be played as a cocktail arcade cabinet, so you
Right.
can place it down on the table and play around that. And
Yeah.
some of the touchscreen stuff goes into that.
Right.
But I mean, it doesn't need to play that way. But it was just a really good fit for Switch. In
Yeah,
that case. So it was
for sure.
Because it was, when I came up with the idea, there was no idea of Switch. So
Right.
Right.
it just happens.
And has the game been doing pretty well on the Switch?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what a lot of these developers have been saying is like, we put it on Switch and now all of a sudden we're seeing like 3-4 times more than like a lot of the other platforms.
Oh yeah, I'm really happy it's on Switch.
Yeah, good.
Also, it's just one of the best ways to share it with people. Like when you make a game and you ship it on maybe say iPad, only some people get to see that. But if I get to bring that same game over to Switch, it's like a whole new set of players get to see it, and it's like,
And with the way the Switch is kind of shook out or whatever, with multiplayer being a big part of it, it really fits in. Like with how easy it is to take your whole Switch. Like I took my Switch to my brother's house just the other day and we played this game. It's like it's not that hard to bring along to play with people. So
Yeah,
it's
I
a good
imagine if
game
you're
for
trying
it.
to show people the game as well. It's just a
Yep.
great way to do it. Yeah, exactly. It's funny that Panic Button. I feel like this is the first game they worked on the Switch, and then they went on to do like Warframe and Doom and all this other crazy
so much,
first-person
so
shooter
much.
games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guys are so smart over there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're kind of, it's the de facto kind of port house quality. You know what I mean? Like right now. So it's very interesting that you kind of worked with them on this game, which is very
Totally,
different
yeah.
than the
And
kind of
it's,
stuff
it's,
they've been
in
doing.
some ways, they're like, oh, we got this. This is easy.
exactly.
I was like, okay, great.
And so let's move on to Dig Dog then.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rusty, you're here to talk about Dig Dog.
No, sure.
Yeah,
Whatever.
We don't need to talk about Origin. Let's talk Dig Dog.
Dig Dog, which is available to pre-purchase right now. Something I didn't realize.
Oh yeah,
until
sell
I-
it. Sell it.
Yeah. See, I'm doing your
Actually,
job for you, baby.
by the time this is out, oh wait,
Oh no, yeah, this will be coming out on Wednesday. So it's like the game is out on Friday. This episode comes out on Wednesday. You can pre-purchase it, or if you're listening late, you can check it out now.
Just buy it.
Something I didn't know because you were kind enough to send us some codes.
yeah.
But the game is $3.99. Is that correct?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great price.
That's a really
Cool.
good price point. But yeah, Dig Dog is like, I'm a huge Spelunky fan. Right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
So this game, as soon as I started playing, I'll pound it out. Yeah. So it's like, basically I wasn't really sure exactly what to expect because I hadn't played it on Steam.
Oh, awesome.
But I started playing it. I was like, oh, hell yeah. Cause there's no Spelunky on Switch right now. So this is really scratching that
I could
itch for
imagine
me.
that would be a great game to have on there.
Yeah. So, can you tell us some of your inspirations for the game? And
Yeah,
kind of
Or
what you're
and
thinking?
maybe give us a quick elevator pitch, like what
What is Dig Dog?
Dig
Yeah,
Dog?
yeah.
It's more fun to hear it from what you
Okay,
guys
well,
say.
I can one of us
Okay,
can-
you sum it up real quick.
one of us can give the
Yeah,
elevator.
Patrick, what
I feel like
is Dig Dog?
David could probably do this better than me, but it's a retro style graphic game, a roguelite type of game where you play as a dog who digs, and your goal on each sort of procedurally generated level, I presume,
Yeah.
is to find the bone. And it's like that's just a quick. I mean, I don't even know that was
Yeah.
an elevator pitch. That was longer than that, but
Oh yeah, that's
hopefully that covered all the major points.
Yeah. Well, well, I've had a ton of fun with it just because it's like, I mean, I don't know if this is like weird to say, but I've played your game while pooping, and it's like,
yeah.
I thought of you while I was taking a poop.
and it's but the perfect kind of length. It's like just that kind of pick up and play nature of the Switch like lends itself really well to this kind of
100%. Yeah.
So like, I mean, clearly there's a lot of like Spelunky inspirations here.
absolutely.
Like kind of what else kind of
And maybe
drew
some
you to
Dig
this
Dug
game?
inspiration.
Oh, actually, no. It's like I've not really played Dig Dug, so
The name or the digging? Or?
it's just a great name.
Dig Dog is a great name.
Yeah.
It is. Oh, it's
incredible.
Also, because of Dig Dug, it feels like a nice little play on that too.
You know, it's funny before. It's like when you have an idea in hindsight, it's like, oh, that's the name. But when I was working on it, my other roommate was like, you should call it Dig a Dog a Bone. And I'm like, oh, that's a good name.
It is a good name.
And I was between the two. I wasn't sure. And then
I think
once
you made the right choice.
yeah, once I got the titles to like da 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 da, I was like,
It's too
oh.
long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any other titles that you could have called it, or was it always?
It was
these two?
between those two for sure. Like there were some other ones, but not memorable ones.
That makes me wonder: was Astro Duel an easy title, or did that take some time?
Oh, the original title was Deep Space Duel, and I love alliterations.
Yeah.
So even Astro Duel, I think that's the name that I probably settled with, and I think there's probably a better name out there. So if you guys have one,
Naming shit is hard. It really is.
Well,
It's like,
I feel like it matters so much, and it also doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
it's a weird like. But I think Dig Dog is catchy and video gamey.
people fucking love dogs, man.
That too,
They
yeah.
really do.
I mean, speaking of names, almost every episode we talk about Untitled Goose Game.
Oh man, I should have my shirt.
have an
I wore
Untitled
it
Goose Game
yesterday.
shirt?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's great. What were we going to say?
Go ahead. You're gonna ask me about inspiration.
Yeah,
kind of
go for
where, Yeah, I mean, I think, I think initially with Dig Dog, I mean, it had some very particular design goals that I was trying to do that I'll get into in a second with how it was made.
Sure.
But really, it's about. I was exploring kind of this like infinite desert walking simulator, and it was not very interesting because you're just kind of like jumping and platforming through the desert. And then I was kind of like, well, what if there's kind of a digging thing going on? And that's when I was like, oh, this game is clearly going to be about digging. And so I started to explore ways to have that happen, like handmade levels. Then I was playing with some procedural stuff, and I was like, well, let me just try the procedural thing. And then that started going into, let's explore this as a roguelike. And that was like, okay, yes, like this is what I want to do. Like I play a lot of Spelunky.
Yeah.
Downwell.
I definitely see some down, like especially with the palette swaps and stuff. I see a lot of came after. It was like, oh, like this game is a good candidate for that. But I was looking at kind of like Limbo and looking at Downwell and other games that just do so much with so little. And I'm like, oh, what a great thing to try. Yeah. Well, it's nice. I mean, like having that kind of minimalist take on it and like kind of limiting your game mechanics into something like very simple, like a Downwell, I feel like leads to like basically having restrictions can really increase your creativity. You know what I mean? It makes you be able to like fine tune the little shit to where it feels just super, super polished. You know what I mean? And that definitely comes across in this game. I also just really quickly want to say, since you gave us those early access codes, I am currently #1 in the world for Dig Dog. So
Hell yeah.
I'm just riding that out until Friday when it inevitably will change. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Everyone, you have to take on David, clearly. Exactly. Crush his score.
David with 2 Ds. Yeah.
I also really like the game. So I play a lot well, not a lot, but I play Switch sometimes when my wife is watching some TV show that I don't care that much about. But it's like the game you play in that situation needs to be a game that's not too intense, so I can kind of be involved and check in with her in the show. And this was a nice game because, you know, if you're not immediately under threat, I'm fine. I can just look up whatever. And so it was a really good game. You know, beat a level, take a minute, get back to it. I was enjoying playing it in that situation.
Cool.
So you don't have to just poop it, play the game.
Yeah, you can play it on the TV or while pooping. Those are the only two
No,
options.
so I appreciate those pooping games.
This game is more than a poop game. That's what we're saying. Yeah, I will say like the sound effects are really nice. The music is really joyful. And just like a jaunty, I don't know how else to describe the music, but it's like very fun. And
And that was the only other person you really worked on with this game, right? As a musician?
A guy I've worked with a lot, Matthew Grimm. He has a track in Astro Duel, and he worked on another game project with me and another guy, Sean Inman, which was Retro Game Crunch.
Right.
And
right.
so that was
Cool.
so Matt did 7 games worth of music for that project. So it was he's amazing, and he has this very lighthearted touch. to everything. And so he helped me elevate the game both in quality, but also like tonally, like shift it up to be like, oh, it's like a little bit more endearing.
The World 2 theme fucking slaps.
Yeah.
I love that one. That's really groovy.
It's my favorite.
Well,
yeah, it's great.
That makes me interested in something too. And so your studio is called Wild Rooster,
Yeah.
or that's the name you go
Yeah,
by?
but it's just me. It's just
you.
Rusty.
Yeah.
But this time you didn't have somebody else help put it on the Switch like
yeah.
you did previously. Was there a reason, or you just felt comfortable doing it, or you since
New
you built it
challenges
from the
for sure.
ground up?
It's like an opportunity for me to, take on more stuff. I can do a little bit more when I can control the whole pipeline, and this was this made it basically, I don't know, just exploring, doing that thing. Yeah, it seemed worth doing.
Have you found kind of working with the kind of more back end financial stuff has been a challenge, or is it like because I imagine a lot of that was taken care of by Panic Button the first time around?
Oh yeah, I mean that stuff isn't fine or isn't actually any work. It's all the publishing work basically.
Right.
It's like there's so many assets to create. There's so much steps and kind of stuff you have to do,
like marketing and whatnot. And
yeah, there's I'm trying to think how to quantify it. There's just a lot of like work that needs to be done. It's like kind of like it's like paperwork and
right.
understanding rules. And so like just one of the things you have to do is you have to build a version of your game and then you have to make it in a way that Nintendo approves it. It's basically every console has like a certification, and you have to pass all their rules. You have to do it by all the steps, and that takes a lot of work and having a lot of knowledge to do that. So I was in a better position this time because I learned a bit, working with Panic Button, and so now I was actually in a pretty good position to be able to do this. So
Hell yeah,
yeah,
that's great.
And Dig Dog is a self-published game, right?
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I have a question about the modes because I played a little bit of both modes. Can you explain the difference between it's like it's free dig versus the bone hunt? Can you tell us like what separates the two?
Yeah, so
modes of the game?
Bone Hunt is probably like the meat and potatoes of the game. That's the real roguelike where you're going to go into a level every time it's going to be procedural, every time it's going to change. You can get coins and visit a shop, go to different worlds, unlock new worlds. And there's kind of it gets harder the more you play it. Whereas Free Dig is sort of this more lax, progression based, but also not with a lot of challenge. It's sort of a very chill. You can keep playing and digging through levels. You're not really going to face many challenges. And if you do die, you're going to just pick up right where you left off.
Maybe
Right.
for younger or less experienced players
Sure,
as well.
yeah.
I fired it up that way because I convinced my kid to like sit there with me while I played it, and so I was like, oh, maybe this will be better mode for us to play.
Definitely a lot easier.
Oh yeah, totally.
I noticed there were still a number of pallets locked behind that mode as well.
Oh, they unlock together.
Oh, they unlock
So-
together? Awesome. That's
yeah.
good to know. But yeah, that's great. I wanted to talk just a little bit before we move on I wanted to talk also some about Juegos Rancheros and what you've been doing with Fantastic Arcade. But first, just before we move on from Dig Dog, I can't help but notice just kind of like that your second game that you've been self-publishing is at a way lower price point. Like, was that kind of something that you kind of made a decision on based on other games and how they performed in the Switch eShop, or like what kind of went into the idea there?
I probably should tell the story of how I made Dig Dog. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you know this or not, but Dig Dog was created without using my hands.
Right. Yeah. I saw that in the description. What does that mean?
I didn't know what that meant. I saw that in the description
Sure.
too.
Yeah, so I have a repetitive stress injury that limits how much I can use my hands.
Right.
Like
Basically-
carpal tunnel or cubital tunnel or
Yes,
something like
basically I can't use a keyboard and mouse like nearly as much as like most people. And so it means that it's harder to make games.
Right.
And so I was looking for a long-term solution for this.
Sure.
Basically something to help me to be able to create games. And so Dig Dog was the first project where I took this on. I programmed it all by voice.
that. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yeah, so the game
Mind's
was,
blown.
Yeah.
So you use like some dictation software?
yes. I used Dragon Dictate and a version of that on Mac too, and it's been modified with a vocabulary
Yeah, because it probably doesn't know what you mean when you say some programming
Some
jargon
code
or
line.
whatever.
Yeah, random number generator or something. Yeah.
It's like it's basically I created a shorthand that makes it faster to type by voice. Also, the art is all drawn using a hat with a reflector on it. So it's like, imagine that hat with a little reflective dot, and I have a camera on a monitor.
Wow.
And as I move my head around, it moves the mouse.
No way.
So cool.
So basically, so all the art is actually just 1-bit art.
Right.
So that's by design, so it makes it easier for me to draw this way.
Yeah.
And I have a little foot clicker for clicking.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That
so
hat thing, awesome. Mind blown even more.
I'll show you guys a video. The video is should be coming out on launch day, but I'll show it to you guys after this cast.
Just kind of this kind of technology.
yeah,
you're using.
basically, it's kind of like, hey, here's Dig Dog, here's what the game is. And
So
then
did you
here's-
build these tools yourself as well?
It's all on the shoulders of giants.
Right.
You
People-
modded some things or something, or
Yeah,
added some.
people have been building a lot of tech for kind of voice coding. It's just it's all duct tape, and it's hard to understand and get at. And
Sure.
I've just kept at it for a long time, and built a project small enough that it would basically help me to learn the tools, because it's a lot of steps. It's like I have to learn to remember like this made up vocabulary, and I'm trying to edit what I'm editing the vocabulary and kind of the systems, and I'm trying to build a game.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like
exactly.
Wow.
it's a lot. So it made it a slow process.
That's incredibly impressive.
So that video that you're talking about, we'll be sure to share it on social
whenever it
media.
launches.
So if you're listening right now and you're like, wow, that hat system to draw 2D art sounds cool, check out social media, Super Switch Heads on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, we'll have that up there for you. So how does that kind of lead into the choices you made with the pricing?
I think so. I was basically trying to build the game, a small enough project that I could finish it. And so this came out, Dig Dog initially came out in February of last year. And so the Switch version is basically, so it's about a year later.
Right.
So I initially priced it. So I don't know. I potentially I could have made a much larger game. I could have spent a lot more time on content, but I wanted to build something that I felt was like basically it's just about being a fair price for what the project is.
Oh yeah, it
And
definitely feels like that.
It's not also a project that's 100% about like it needs to make the most money. So
Right,
like a
right,
lower
right.
price point makes it a little bit more shareable.
Right.
So like I've got some big stuff in the pipe that's like, it's going to cost you $1,000. But you
The
know,
collector's edition.
this one is like this. It's like I just want to share this.
Yeah,
cool.
that's great. Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me kind of like when Binding of Isaac first shipped. I think it was like a $5 game.
Oh, yeah, that's right, the Flash version.
The Flash version was like nothing. And then eventually, once people kind of realized, oh, you can play this game infinitely, they started, adding more
it's
and more
awesome.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that's really interesting.
Last comment on Dig Dog. As somebody who's complained about screen shake on the podcast before, I love that there's a option in the menu to toggle it. I actually don't mind screen shake that much, but I feel like I have to mention it since I've said it before, and that you can adjust it. That's really cool. I like that. And we get,
I love screen shake, so I'm going to keep it
Me
on.
too. Yeah, 100%. But accessibility, it's like
Yeah.
I want more people to play it.
Yeah, it's
Actually, so
great.
this was the first game. I mean, just from accessibility, it's the first one I ever localized, and then went into 4 games later that year. So. Like I did the work for Dig Dog, and then Astra Duel came out first.
Right.
But it was all basically me learning how to deal with localization because I want more people to play it.
Yeah,
it's like a
exactly.
great way to reach more people.
Yeah, that's great. I did kind of want to bring up right before we kind of wrap this up. The way we met in the first place was, I think, at a Huegos Rancheros.
For sure.
And if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically kind of a meetup that happens once a month here in Austin, Texas. Basically, Austin has blossomed into this beautiful mecca of indie developers, and there's kind of a big meetup that happens kind of once a week, or once a month, excuse me. And then also you're one of the kind of main people behind Fantastic Arcade.
Yeah.
And so if you could just kind of touch into a little bit of that and like kind of how kind of acting as sort of this ambassador for the Austin indie scene has kind of worked for you.
Yeah. And going back to Fantastic Arcade is part of Fantastic Fest.
Or it was originally.
It
You guys-
was, okay.
It's separated now, correct?
Yeah, it's separate now. Yeah. I think it was for, I don't know how many years, but basically the last couple of Fantastic Arcades have been our own. And
Whoa, cool.
we're kind of our own
Entity.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a video game festival, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or an
fantastic-
indie video game festival that happens at the Draft House in the Mueller one now.
Yeah, we always do it at a draft house, and it's a video game festival, indie focused, where we're looking at just sharing some of the cool stuff around the world. We don't do, I think we usually do about 30 games, and we also commission original works. So people build cabinets or build games, and we build cabinets for those and share them, debut them at the festival. So it's a sort of a celebration of games and, just a good hangout.
How'd you get involved in both of those entities, the Juegos Rancheros and Fantastic Arcade?
I think when I moved to Austin 6-7 years ago, I don't know. I went to a Fantastic Arcade and I saw what they were putting on, and I was like, "This is the coolest shit."
I guess this is Wiley Wiggins was running it at the
Yeah,
time.
and I'm like, "This is awesome!" Like, this is literally. And there were friends in town for this who work, in the U.S. and around the world. There were a lot of new voices, and there was a very relaxed atmosphere. People were sharing their games, and maybe they're just having a beer on stage and just sharing some prototypes, not having a prepared professional, which I think is important. It's good to have like GDC talks and stuff where like we're being super professional, but it was so relaxed and so easy and fun and very Austin too. So I was like, I want to be a part of this.
Cool. And what is your role now as a part of Fantastic Arcade?
I guess I just help run it.
No official title.
Yeah, no, we haven't really done titles. We're like, there's a few of us, and some of the reins are being passed right now. So but basically, I help put it on. So it's me and a couple others.
Yeah, that's great. And it's that's kind of how I first kind of got into the local scene here, is like going to events like that. And I think the first Fantastic Arcade that I went to, Terry Cavanaugh was there.
Yeah.
Who's one of my favorite developers. Like
awesome.
Don't Look Back was such a good game. You remember that game?
Yeah.
And then obviously Super Hexagon is so good. And I actually kind of fanboyed out pretty hard. I was like, I went up to him, he was eating some fries, and I was like, "Hey, I just want to let you know I'm a really big fan of your games." I tried to shake his hand. His hands were covered in fry dust. And it was a very awkward experience. But after that, I was like, oh man, I'm hooked. Like all these, indie devs that I really look up to and respect just all fly into Austin for this weekend. It's a great time.
All right. Do you what is your Super Hexagon score? What is your?
Oh, I don't even remember at this point. I've played Super Hexagon now on like 3 or 4 different phones and PC and like so every time I start a new one, it's always starting from scratch. So I forget. But it's there was a time when I was getting pretty high up on there.
Yeah, I've gotten through. I've gotten the ending.
Really?
If you know what that is?
Hell yeah.
And I've gotten, I think, about 80 seconds into the last one.
Yeah. I'm not that high.
Actually, it was a big game for me because for a long time, for about a month, I was just stuck on the third one. I just couldn't get past it, and I just kept playing it here and there for over a month.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I capped out. Like that's it. And then I beat it, and I was like, wait a minute,
You just like transcended your body.
I was like, I didn't think that I could do it, but I kept at it, and I grew, and I was like, maybe I can actually beat that Spelunky game. And so I went back and I ended up playing Spelunky for a while, and ended up beating it.
Yeah.
And now, like, I'm a killer at Spelunky. Like, I have a 4-minute 8-second run.
Hell yeah. Ooh, that's
So
fast.
it's like,
Holy shit.
at the time it was like, I don't know. I don't think I broke into top 100, but at the time it was a very competitive score. And that's without going crazy with like they have like you can do a jetpack and a
the
teleporter.
teleporter. Yeah.
So this
I'm scared shitless of that teleporter.
Yeah,
I'm not good at it. Well, hopefully that comes to Switch. Also, Super Hexagon
please.
should be on Switch. What the hell, man? That's like a perfect fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was going to say, Rusty, before we move on to maybe the next segment, or if you guys had any other questions, you shared a lot about like game development and the stuff that you did to work around, your accessibility needs. If like someone was listening right now that say they have, whatever those needs might be, what would you say to them as like inspiration?
No, well, yeah, that's a harder. I was like, I'll tell you where to go for my tools.
Oh, it's like, that's also a very
Yeah,
practical
so there's
approach too.
a great interview someone did a year ago. If you go to my site rustymoyer.com, Moyher, and then click on Dig Dog, there's a link on the Dig Dog page for just the hands-free creation with an interview that really goes into depth on this stuff.
Cool.
And I'll probably have some more stuff up by the time the podcast goes up or near after. But on the inspiration level, I mean, I don't know, like I love making games. And I think for me, my hands are my most limiting factor. But I didn't want that to limit like what I wanted to do. So I found a way around that. And I think there's all kinds of limitations for, what we can be held back by. And I don't know. I mean, for me, the voice coding has been probably the hardest thing I've had to learn to do. But I mean, I don't know. I think you can get through things if you stick at it. So, yeah, don't give up and be discouraged.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, if you want to make games, seems like there's nothing standing in your way these days. You know what I mean?
It's
and
possible.
especially stuff like that, like such a creative way
Wow,
to get
yeah.
around something like that. So, hats off to you. That's really cool. Or hats on if you're trying to draw.
Zing.
Hey, professional comedian.
Just holding on to that one.
But yeah, that was a great interview. We should probably move on because
Yeah,
we're running
to-
pretty late here.
Wrap it up. So everybody check out Wiggles Rancheros and Indie Arcade in Austin, and go download Dig Dog and Astro Duel Deluxe.
Yeah.
Let's go over. We're going to talk now about what we've been playing this week.
Sure. I'll start if that's
Yeah,
okay.
David.
I've been playing some Dig Dog. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I also, what else have I been playing? Oh, I played the Box Boy and Box Girl demo today. And I did not like it. So don't. So it's not for everybody. I mean, it's like it reminds me of a TI-83 game, like something you would play on a graphing calculator. Definitely, I can see a lot of people enjoying it. Not really for me, but try out the demo for yourself because it's out right now, and I wanted to give it a try, and it's definitely worth trying out. I wasn't going to buy this game because I've been a little strapped for cash recently, but I got drunk the other night and bought Cuphead, and man, I'm really enjoying it. I never played it before. I was kind of like holding out on the impossible hope that it would come to the Switch, like Microsoft like helped publish that game, and it's like it's never gonna happen. And then it did, and man, it's so good. I'm having such a good time with it, and surprisingly, it's a game that I've been having fun playing co-op as well, even with people that aren't, because it's a really tough game, but even if you're playing with somebody who's not great at games, they could still have fun just because the game is gorgeous. You know what I mean? And it's, if somebody dies, you just kind of keep playing, and then you'll die soon anyway, so you just start over again. But
I'm going to jump in here because
Yeah,
that's
go
what
for it.
I've been playing mostly
Yeah.
too. I haven't had as much time to play games, but the one game I've played the most is Cuphead this week. I was a little bit nervous based on how everybody talks about how hard it is, and I had a hard time at first. But then when I remapped the buttons,
yeah, that's true.
I actually had a lot more success. I don't know who thought that button layout should be the default, because that just does not make sense to me.
X was dash
X
originally,
is
right?
dash. I still actually have X as dash, but I just to be able to move, shoot, and dash and jump quickly the way they had it laid out was very difficult.
Yeah.
And I tried the first level 10 times and wasn't getting very far, and then I remapped the buttons and beat it. I was
Okay.
I can do this game now.
I kept everything the same except I changed dash to ZR.
Trigger, hell yeah.
the
yeah, I
trigger.
put shoot on the trigger.
Okay.
and
yeah,
that
I can see
helped
that
me.
too. Yeah.
But anyway, that's so yeah. And more than say Hollow Knight or something, I like it even better because you can instantly retry. You know what I mean?
It's right up my alley as far as I'm a glutton for punishment in games like that.
and
And
I
I
like-
just love that kind of shit.
I love that you can see your progress when you lose, on a boss fight. It shows you how close you were to which stage of the boss, So you get to that final stage and you lose, you're like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah, it's a good motivator. Yeah.
Those are nice little design
Also,
things in that
I'll
game.
just say about Cuphead too. It's for I think up to this point, the best looking game on the Switch and handheld for me has been has up to this point had been Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I still think it pretty much is, just because that game is gorgeous handheld. But man, Cuphead gives it a run for its money. Like, that game runs so well in handheld mode, and it looks incredible, like just in the palm of your hand.
I don't think I've played it docked yet. Actually.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing looking. Like, I don't think that anything was lost in the port. I think the only difference that I can tell, and I think that a lot of people that have been picking it apart, like on the internet, have been able to tell us that the load times are like a second longer. But if that's the case, like, they did a great job with the port. So kudos to them.
I'll go next.
Yeah.
I was talking about Cuphead with a coworker, and this game called Skullgirls just got ported to iOS.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I've never heard of this game. It's a fighting game, and all of the character art is all hand drawn. It's a fighting game, came out in 2015.
That's not on the Switch, is it? I feel like I heard people
There's
talking
a
about
Skullgirls
it.
on the Switch.
Is there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, anyway.
It's beautiful. It's incredible. And I watched a video of Skullgirls. I've heard about it, but I've never seen it. And the reason why I started playing it is because there's a character called Mr. Bassman, and it looks like a saxophone in a trench coat. And I was like, yeah, that's speaks to me on a humor level and a human level. And I've been playing it this weekend on PC, and it's been like so fun. And the music is really good, just like Cuphead, and all the animation is all hand drawn. It's like beautiful as well. I've also been playing a second game, Human Fall Flat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like a ragdoll physics. I've been playing online, and all I've been doing is grabbing people and pulling them off the edge. Or like grabbing someone as I'm on a catapult when someone launches you, and I just fall through the air with like hand in hand with some stranger.
Is that game by the same people who made Gang Beasts, or is it just a similar aesthetic?
That's a good question.
Different developers.
It's different
okay.
developers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a similar aesthetic. I always wondered if they were connected or not. But yeah, I also just looked it up. Skullgirls came out last year.
Oh, did it? Cool. Yeah, it's fun. It's beautiful. Good
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
Highly recommend.
What about you, Russ? You been playing anything this past week?
Oh yeah. Baba's You.
Oh,
Yeah,
hell
playing a little bit of that on Switch.
Yeah.
It's
that one will break your brain.
Oh yeah. I like the easy levels.
It gets really hard later on.
Let's see. I just not on Switch.
That's cool.
I just picked up a game called Escape from Tarkov,
What's
which
that all
is
about?
it's a first person shooter. And it's not on Steam yet, so I think I really had to want to play this game. I had to find it from their very strange website. But the developers, it's sort of a scavenging first-person shooter where you're going into situations where there's maybe 12 players and there's some AI opponents in this kind of large area, and you're looking around, scavenging for materials and shooting other players and trying to get out. And you only if you die, whatever you have on you, you lose. So it's about trying to get enough stuff and not risk too much.
Right.
And looting takes a long time on purpose. It's like, oh, I want to search this backpack from this player that I killed. And then you're like waiting for this ticker, and then it shows the loot, and it's by design. So you're very nervously looting this stuff and being like, I am going to get shot looting. And speaking of getting shot looting, a lot of Apex Legends.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. See? Yeah. You love Apex.
Can I ask you a quick question, Rusty? So, like with your mouse and keyboard issue, how do you play?
I play less. Yeah, it's basically
Just shorter.
basically less. So, like I've been working on a video recently, and that'll stuff will hurt my hands too. So it was tough because trying to cram to do this, and it's like if I spend too much time doing this, then I have to spend longer time recovering.
Right.
So it's like I have to I don't play as much as I would like.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's at some point, you know, I have some self-destructive habits like drinking, and I'm like, it's like, well, I want to play video games.
You got to live your life and find the balance, right?
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Rusty, for coming on this episode. That
thank
was
you,
a delightful
Rusty.
conversation. Did you have a good time?
Yeah,
That was great, right? My goodness.
Yeah, make sure if you're listening right now, when you get home or when you're taking poop, download Big Dog.
Yeah, it's perfect for that. Well, that should about do it for this episode.
Yeah. Thanks to Corduroy.
Yeah,
as
thanks for
always,
Corduroy for our
for
theme music. Yeah, if you haven't checked it out yet, Corduroy's got some hit. That shit slaps. Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
I did want to offer one shout out to Ricardo Alcantar, who posted on the Facebook our Super Switchheads Facebook page about Cuphead and how he was enjoying that. Obviously, David and I are too. So yeah, share with us what you're playing and reach out to us with questions or comments or what have you.
Yeah, we'd love to feature some of your questions on the show and give you some answers from our very smart minds. Yeah, and again, as always, you can find us on Twitter at Switchheads, on Facebook at Super Switchheads. That's both of those are with a Z.
And Instagram now on
Yeah,
Super Switchheads.
we have an Insta now.
We're moving up.
Isn't that crazy? We should all take a photo after this. You guys wanna take a photo?
We should.
But
I didn't know.
but yeah, so you can find us on Insta as well at Super Switchheads. We're going to be on all the things, so you can find us. Personally, you can find me online at Monolith Fiji.
You can find me on Twitter, Matthew, MATHYOU.
I am PDYX.
And where can the people find you, Rusty?
On Twitter at Rusty M.
Hey, there you go. That's a good one. That's an easy to remember Twitter. Very good.
You don't have to spell yours like Matt.
Well, my name's... Never mind.
I know.
All right, well, thanks everybody so much for listening. This has been a super fun episode. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.